Okay, so Tony, thank you for sitting down with us.
Oh, no problem.
For people who don't know you, can you tell who you are and how they may know you?
Yeah, so I'm a comic book artist from Kentucky, and I currently live in Indiana, and most people know my work on The Walking Dead. I had a run on Deadpool not too long ago, and got to create your own book called Fear Agent.
Fear Agent?
Yep.
So, can you tell us a little bit about your background history? I mean, you have one of those jobs that a lot of kids dream of. Either they want to be a professional wrestler or they want to be a comic book artist.
Yeah.
How did you become a well-established comic book artist?
Well, I'm a kid of the 90s. I think I was like 11 or 12 when Image Comics launched. And it was the perfect age for me. Like it caught my attention. It excited all the little parts of my monkey brain and got me super into it. And I was hooked. I was already into comics, but these guys were like making comics like for kids my age, and I just flipped out. I knew that that's what I was like. As soon as that hit, I was like, that's how I'm spending my life, and that's been kind of the train tracks that I've been on like this whole time.
It seems like a hard industry to break through, though. I mean, like there's a lot of people out there doing great artwork. How did you make yourself shine to get noticed?
I mean, like I got real lucky, most of all. But you know, like when it came to like putting together a portfolio and stuff like that, a lot of people are putting together submissions for editors and all this stuff. And ultimately, I thought, you know, like I'm gonna be making pages. I might as well just make a book. And so Robert Kirkman and I had known each other since we were little kids, and went all the way through school together. And after I finished my freshman year of college, he reached out and said, "Hey, I think I want to do some comics. Do you want to try to do this?" And I was like, "Yeah." I just bought artboards to do my submission packets to send to editors, and I was like, "I might as well just make a book." So, so we cooked up a book called Battle Pope that we thought would like piss people off and make us famous. Nobody read it at all, but we learned a lot. We did 3 years. We worked on that book for 3 years and put together about 12 issues, which not exactly a breakneck professional speed, but you know, for people who didn't know at all what they were doing, pretty good clip, and produced some work that we're really proud of, and learned a hell of a lot about how to do it. And then from there, we started to meet people at Image, and we pitched a book called Brit, and we pitched a book called The Walking Dead, and that one caught fire.
So with the popularity of The Walking Dead, obviously it had a huge impact on Kirkman's career.
Yeah.
That was a good transition, because I didn't know you grew up with Kirkman.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Yeah,
How did it affect your career?
I mean, it definitely opened a lot of doors that would have been closed to me otherwise. You know, I think I'm pretty good at what I do.
Yeah.
I don't have any illusions that I'm like among the best, but it is definitely like the popularity of that book has afforded me the chance to work on some projects that I'm super happy to have gotten to touch. So, like I don't know that I would have ever had the chance to draw something like Deadpool. You know, like a super, you know, high-profile mainstream superhero book. I'm not that kind of guy, but
Yeah.
it worked out, and I did, and it was awesome.
So do you keep up with the TV show The Walking Dead?
I haven't for a while, just because I've been like so wrapped up in 1,000 other things that like I barely get to watch any television, and most of the time if we watch television at night, my wife just wants to watch The Office or King of the Hill.
Yeah,
you know.
except everybody wants to see them watch The Office.
Yeah.
In regards to the interpretation from comics to movies or comics to TV shows, how do you feel about them? Do you typically like them? Do you feel like they're missing out some important information? I'm not talking about The Walking Dead in general.
Yeah. I mean,
like Deadpool. Deadpool
Sure.
just came out a couple days ago. Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
How do you feel like it compares to the comics?
You know, it's tricky because I think as long as they get to the spirit of the thing, which has been the hardest thing for people to understand for the longest time, then you're cool. If you get to the essence of the characters and stay true to that, the nuts and bolts of how everything really operates doesn't have to stay true to the books as long as it's on on point with the characters. And the Marvel movie universe did that. Like they didn't, they built their own, overarching storyline and kind of retooled, some origins and interactions and stuff to make it work within that universe. But they stayed true to the characters, and it worked.
Okay.
Versus a lot of times, people would just come in and start changing shit to change shit. And it would always fall apart.
It's one of the things where the Hollywood executives kind of step in and
right. And people, like things are being built by committee, and people just making changes to say, I made that, I did that.
Yeah, people who don't really, or who aren't familiar with the comics, are putting their input when it's not really.
Right, and not recognizing that something works, and just letting it work.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, like I think the Marvel movie universe is kick-ass. I think it's a great. Less so for DC. But and then like a lot of super great adaptations otherwise. Like I love Ghost World. It's one of my favorite movies. History of Violence was awesome. Road to Perdition was awesome. There's a lot of like stuff that's outside the mainstream comics that are still comic movies, and they're fantastic.
So we were talking about the comic book industry compared to the tattoo industry. Can you give some of your insight on that?
Yeah, I was saying, like, we're all kind of cut from the same cloth. We're all the same types of guys. Sensitive partners that want to be rock stars for a minute, and so a lot of the internal kind of industry bullshit politics end up the same. Like I had a buddy who his name's Brian Level, who started in tattooing and been tattooing for kind of a long time, and then moved over into comics. And I was like, "You're lucky because your skin's already thick enough. You've already been through the bullshit. You're going to be impervious to what comics has because you've already done it." And it's the same. You get the same kind of like, but for better and worse, it's honestly like remarkably similar.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you're on this comic book circuit. You go to a lot of comic book conventions across the country. How is it like going to all these since Walking Dead and Deadpool? And do you enjoy it? Do you enjoy meeting all the fans? What's the crazy? Do you typically have a lot of crazy requests from fans?
I have some. Yeah, I have some. Pretty like off the wall requests for commissions and stuff, and things that are maybe like toeing the edge of good taste or whatever. But I don't really care. Like I'm kind of a crass person anyway. Especially when it comes to what
I'm sure the amount of commissions that you're probably offered, you have to be very selective on what you actually take.
And it's nice, when I can, if someone gives me something I can actually sink my teeth into and I get really excited about it, then they'll end up with a better piece, just because I'm excited. But, like I get to go all over the world and see awesome places because I sit and draw funny books, so it's kind of a dream come true. I get to meet a ton of really cool people. It's really wild to meet like middle-aged housewives who have, come up and say, "I've never read a comic book in my life, but I'm hooked on this," and they have like the whole series of Walking Dead that they want to get signed, and like
it's interesting who it opens it up to.
Yeah, it's really wild that like 15 years ago, like if you were a fan of horror, you really kind of kept that to yourself. Like it wasn't something that you led with, and now it's like it's mainstream, it's in vogue, and everybody will admit to it. Like,
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, like when comic book movies come out, when we post a Tattoo Snob, we'll see a huge influx of tattoos. I mean, when it came out the second time, we had so many Pennywise tattoos that it was. I mean, I love the movie, but there's so many Pennywise tattoos. Deadpool came out. We're getting a huge flow of new Deadpool tattoos. It's cool to see the different interpretations that everybody has, but you can see how it just skyrockets based on pop culture.
Sure, no doubt. I mean, it's called popular culture for
exactly.
And a lot of us are genre fans that have been like super attached to this stuff for a long time, and so then when it becomes mainstream, then we're suddenly like, well, it's okay, like it's cool, we can do this now, and like then it's awesome and we get super excited.
No, I understand. I think they're wrapping up out there, so I'm gonna ask you a few more questions and then we'll get out of here. Jeff Gogway, very popular tattoo artist, has been working on your torso, your back, chest.
Yep.
Has getting tattooed by Jeff helped you with your comics, your art perspective?
I've become incredibly inspired by my interactions with Jeff, and through his shop, getting to meet all of the guest artists that flow through there while I happen to be there getting worked on. I've gotten to meet some really awesome people. Jeff himself, has really kind of helped change my philosophy about being an artist, and he's a very kind of he definitely seeks out like the Zen, kind of centering himself, and he's definitely helped me kind of do that to kind of calm my anxieties. And he's definitely an anxious person. That's why he seeks it out. But we all are. We're all insecure with our. Like the more you learn, the more you realize how much you don't know, and so we all grapple with that, and it's nice to kind of have like a support group for that. He's awesome.
I had one of my friends ask me to ask you. Apparently, you drink a lot of gross sodas on YouTube.
I've done it a bit.
You drink like ranch soda.
I have a ranch soda that
What is the grossest soda you drink, and what is your favorite soda?
That was the ranch was one of the hardest things I've ever done. I like to eat things that are just weird.
Yeah.
Because it's like my version of base jumping or whatever. Like I figure I'm safe if it's an edible thing. Then I'm like, I'll try that. And it's because I'm an idiot. But yeah, the ranch soda was one of the hardest. It took everything I had to eat to get that whole bottle down. It was really rough. Ultimately, my goal is to work up to a balut. I don't have the fortitude for it yet. But that's like a preserved egg with a duck in it.
Yep.
And I'm getting there. That's my goal. I just want to say that
I'm glad that you have these types of goals.
Yeah, I'm aspirational,
We're at the Explorer Conference in St. Louis, where top-level tattoo artists are teaching other tattoo artists in the industry how to be better tattoo artists, pretty much. What are you presenting about? What's your presentation, and who have you enjoyed seeing so far today? Liz Cook presented, Timmy B, and so did Justin Hartman, and it's been very informational, but who have you enjoyed?
I definitely love, seeing Timmy's process, and he's got a really bombastic style. New school generally isn't like my jam, but I love Timmy's work. He's one of my favorites, and it's interesting to see some of the color theory stuff that Liz covered. A lot of the stuff that Timmy went over about kind of pushing and pulling. That's in my seminar too. I think we're all kind of hitting these
similar topics
because they're important, and you can't beat people over the head enough with them. So yeah, like talking to Russ, we've got similar stuff going. We're all trying to present stuff. Mine is called Dynamics, and it's about pushing and pulling elements and getting the most out of your compositions. It's got a large component of it is structure and kind of art theory stuff that I learned in art school, and then as a working professional, and the stuff that I apply to my comics work and my outside comics work. So,
Last question. I know you're working on future projects. I know you mentioned a future or a comic that you're currently working on. Can you talk about whatever you can actually talk about? Can you talk about what future projects you're actually working on?
Well, I'm putting together some new creator-owned comics that I'm hoping to have to the point where I can unveil before too long. I'm going to do some more horror stuff. It's been a long time since I've been working on books that were for me. I've spent the last almost 10 years, helping build the house of the mouse, and they're good to me. They are, but ultimately, if I'm gonna, gamble with my time and my life, I should be building my own house.
And do it on your own terms.
And betting on myself. Ultimately the return. If something goes well on a book I own, it only comes back for me, and
that's royalties.
All risk and all reward. If a book gets optioned in Hollywood and takes off, then it benefits me. Deadpool, I'll see royalties from the book sales, but ultimately it's their property. I have to treat it like I'm, working the fries.
Yeah, you're a contractor pretty much.
Exactly, yeah. Like as much as even if I love it to death, it's not my boat.
Still not you. Still doesn't belong to you.
Yeah, that's that, and my wife and I are entering the tattoo industry. We've been preparing for this for quite a while, and we'll be making a pretty big announcement about that soon too.
We're very excited to hear about what you plan on doing. I'm sure it's going to be a great thing for the tattoo world, and
I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
it's going. I mean, if you're involved with it, and I think it's going to improve the tattoo world because we're always looking for.
One thing that I've really enjoyed seeing is, like illustrators getting into tattoo, illustrators getting into comics, comic book guys getting into tattoo, comic book guys getting into comics, and like we're all kind of playing in each other's sandboxes.
The cross pollination.
And that's what I'm about, and so that's what this thing is going to be about.
Sounds very exciting.
Yeah.
I don't want to ask you any more about it because I don't want
No
you
way.
to have to. Last spoiler question: is there any plans for a Walking Dead movie?
Not that I've ever heard of.
Okay.
I wouldn't put it out of the realm of possibility.
Okay.
I don't think they're shy about putting out new formats of any of it, but I haven't heard anything about it.
Okay. Well, if people want to follow you, you can follow him at Colonel Tony. What does Colonel mean?
I'm a Kentucky Colonel. Just
Kentucky
like
Colonel.
Colonel
Are you
Sanders.
actually a Kentucky Colonel?
Mhm.
Oh, very interesting.
Bona fide.
Bonafide. Now, how did you get that? So, anybody for people who don't know what a Kentucky Colonel means,
I guess it means if the governor is on. It's one of the highest honors that as a Kentuckian you can receive from the state of Kentucky, and I guess it means if Kentucky's under siege, then I have to take up arms and defend my homeland. I don't know, but yeah, I got it. A really good buddy of mine, J.D. Wilkes, is in a band called the Legendary Shack Shakers, and he's been a colonel for a while, and he nominated me for colonelhood.
Interesting.
And as I guess as someone who's brought something good, good attention to the state of Kentucky, and the colonel or the governor gave
Yeah,
me
that
a
makes
thing.
sense.
Yeah.
I knew what a Kentucky Colonel was. I just didn't catch the reference to your Instagram name. But if people are interested in following you, how can they find you?
I'm at Colonel Tony Moore on Instagram. I'm also at Tony Moore on Twitter. You can find me at coloneltonymore.com and facebook.com/Colonel Tony Moore.
Cool. Thank you very much.